Hello, everybody. My name is Maurice Button. I'm the CEO of City and Financial Global, and it's my pleasure to be interviewing today Alex Beidas, who's a partner and global head of the Employment and Incentives practice at Beidas. Alex will be speaking at our City Remuneration Conference Summit, which is being held on the 28th of March in central London. Alex, welcome.
Thanks very much.
Let's dive into the questions, if we may. In December, the Chancellor announced a set of reforms known as the Edinburgh Reforms to drive growth and competitiveness in the financial services sector. Which proposals under the Edinburgh Reforms do you think will have the biggest impact on remuneration in the financial services sector?
So we're waiting to hear what the proposals are going to be. There's been some speculation about it as the UK sort of carves its way through post-Brexit. And I think what we're thinking is it may be that there are some new rules around deferral periods and clawback periods, potentially reducing the maximum that we have at the moment, which is the most onerous regime in the world. Nothing is certain at the moment at all, but that's what we think could happen.
And the government's commitment to the removal of the cap on bankers' bonuses has been met with a rather mixed response. Do you think it will lead to bigger bonuses and riskier decision making, or will it enable firms to reduce their fixed costs as envisioned by the FCA?
So I think what it will do is provide flexibility for firms. So there's no requirement to increase bonuses as a result of the removal of the bonus cap. It's really going to be up to firms whether they want to reduce fixed pay, and if they do so, then provide more variable pay opportunity. Of course, if you provide a bigger bonus to somebody, then actually that provides greater risk alignment, because more of their variable pay, more of their overall total compensation is in something that you can adjust for performance and for risk management. So I don't think it creates risk, I think it helps manage it.
Yes, indeed. What would you say are the key issues for other financial institutions, such as asset managers, who aren't directly affected by the bonus cap?
I think other firms not impacted by the bonus cap have been keeping a very close eye on this, because of course they're competing for talent from the same pool often. So they're very interested to know if firms might end up reducing fixed pay. Sometimes, a higher fixed pay as part of the package is something that might entice someone to join a firm. So if the bonus cap's removed and that leads to some firms reducing fixed pay in their packages, then that's interesting to other firms, obviously, to see what happens. Equally, kind of the ratios between fixed and variable obviously will change over time. So at the moment, the big banks are all subject to 2-to-1, and so if that's changing as well, obviously it changes the market. So it's interesting to all firms.
The PRA recently announced that it would introduce proportionate measures for remuneration policies in smaller firms. What effect do you think this will have on smaller PRA and dual regulated firms?
So I see this as a bit of a reset to going back to how things used to be under CRD4, where we had the proportionality regimes and firms of a certain size were not subject to certain rules. And so, the idea here is that firms with less than 4 billion of assets, or between 4 and 20 billion, but subject to other conditions, can disapply the rules on malus and clawback and some of the PRA buyout rules. So it just provides a more proportionate regime for them, and that is a similar situation to what we had under CRD4. So I think that the UK just wants to sort of correct for that.
Yes, indeed. And that fits well with what the Bank of England has been doing in terms of prudential regulation for smaller firms as well, doesn't it? So exactly. Finally, Alex, what are your thoughts on current market practice around individual accountability and malus and clawback?
So we're still seeing quite a lot of malus being used in practice, clawback hardly ever. But malus, where deferred pay is reduced, we're certainly seeing that, whether it's in cases of misconduct or failure of risk management. The thing that we're really focused on is making sure that the process that firms go through is fair, and that it doesn't change the culture within firms in a negative way, that it doesn't mean that because malus might be applied, that then people act in a different way, sort of protecting themselves and not thinking of the broader firm implications. So it's quite a difficult sort of tightrope to follow, if you like, to walk.
Yes.
But I think that there's a lot of debate about that, and I hope we'll pick that up at the conference.
Yeah, fantastic. I'd love to chat about this for longer, but sadly we don't have enough time. But all of these topics will be discussed in depth at the Remuneration Summit in London on the 28th of March, and I very much hope that our viewers will be able to join us in person at that event. It only remains for me to say thank you very much indeed, Alex, for sharing those insights with us. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.